The gun was first dipped in water, then rubbed in sand, and afterward, most of the guns either jammed or failed to eject their shells. But there was one gun that kept working without a single problem. It was the world's most famous rifle, the AK-47. The man who created this gun was named Kalashnikov. He used to drive a tank, but in a battle, his tank was hit by enemy fire and blown up, leaving his arm badly injured. On the way to the hospital, he noticed the soldiers' guns weren't working right, magazines got ruined in water, and the springs were so weak they froze in the cold. Guns like that could cost lives, and that's when he got the idea to make a gun of his own. After recovering, he went to his old machine workshop and said he wanted to build a new gun. He had solid knowledge of machinery, so they gave him a small room. In just 3 days, he designed the first AK-47. His hand still hadn't healed properly, so he asked a few workers for help. Together, they worked hard and built the first prototype. Now it was time to test it. A worker picked up the gun and fired at a drum, and the bullet went straight through. Then he fired repeatedly, and every shot hit perfectly, proving the gun's power. After this, Kalashnikov went to the army office to get the gun approved, but as soon as the guards saw his gun, they mistook him for a terrorist and arrested him. Later, when an officer tested the gun himself, he was shocked it was better than all the others. But by the rules, the gun could only be approved if it won the annual shooting competition. The officer called a general, who also tested the gun and was deeply impressed. He told Kalashnikov to represent the army in the competition. Kalashnikov went to the Arms Institute in Moscow, where he was given a separate room. But in the very first test, his gun failed and was rejected. He felt crushed and started heading home, but on the way, an officer stopped him and gave him another chance to build a machine gun. Kalashnikov took the opportunity seriously and worked hard. Soon, he built a new gun, and its testing was successful too, but it still wasn't selected. He was heartbroken. Around that time, news came that Germany had surrendered, the war was over, and everyone was happy. But Kalashnikov was sad, thinking his gun was now useless. He met an official at the Arms Institute and said he wanted to go home. The officer silently handed him a paper that said making weapons was still necessary. Kalashnikov went back to work, learned from his past mistakes, and built a new gun. 2 years later, the new AK-47 was ready. Its first test was on a drum, and every bullet hit the mark. He was overjoyed. But just then, guards arrived. Since he didn't have permission to test it, they arrested him. But Kalashnikov was smiling, he was confident of his success. He was taken to the general, who was also a gun designer. Kalashnikov opened his gun in front of him and took apart all the parts in just a few seconds. The general was amazed, he'd never seen such a simple yet sturdy gun. He let Kalashnikov join the competition. Now the contest began. All the guns were first dipped in water, then rolled in sand, and most of them jammed. Finally, it was the AK-47's turn and it fired non-stop, with not a single bullet missing. Kalashnikov won, and mass production of the AK-47 began in 1949. When he joined the parade and saw every soldier carrying the gun he'd built, he felt incredibly proud. Even though the AK-47 wasn't used in that war, today more than half the countries in the world use it. It became not only the most widely used rifle but also the one linked to the most deaths. But remember, weapons themselves aren't wrong. What's wrong are the people who misuse them.